Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Perspective. I'm TiffanyLaShon, your host, and today we have here Mr. Gary Mays, Houston's own, in the house. Welcome.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have him with us today. I want you to focus on the young men, talk to them about your story, open up, and just give it all you got.
Absolutely. I'm a Houston native. Lived here basically all my life. Later on in life, I ended up moving to New York, and I ended up meeting my wife there.
Yeah, beautiful woman.
Misha.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love it.
Yeah, and if the Lord says the same, April 26th, we'll be married 3 years.
Awesome. That's beautiful.
4 kids.
Yeah.
Extended daughter with my wife. Musician, producer, writer, overcomer.
Yeah.
You know, one of the main reasons why I answered your call is because of the whole understanding, the whole mental aspect of what happens when you're bullied.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's where we're going to start now, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I'm a firm believer that any kid or adult who's bullied can eventually have some mental issues.
Yeah.
Some emotional mental issues.
Yeah.
So dealing with even as a kid, when I was in, we just say grade school. You know, in grade school, I had some guys that would often bully me.
Wow.
You know, and I'm pretty sure some of you can relate. But I was often bullied for no reason at all. I didn't bother anybody. You know, I wasn't the popular kid. You know, I wasn't the good-looking kid.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been dark-skinned. You know, and the gang was always driven by the light-skinned dudes.
Oh, back in the day.
Rest in peace, because we're back. But it was just, it got to the point where I really didn't want to go to school anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was mentally breaking me down. It's like why am I going to school if every day I go there, I'm going to be picked on all day, going to be talked about my attire. I didn't buy my attire.
Right.
You know, I'm 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. I can't buy any attire.
Yeah.
So I'm being bullied about my attire, how I look, the darkness, this, that, and the third. So eventually it became, it would drive you to depression.
Yeah.
And I found myself, falling into it, but I overcame. I think it turned out all right.
Yeah, I think you did as
I think it
well.
turned
So
out.
give us a little bit about what it was like. Let's say you went home every day. Did you talk to your parents? Did you hide what you were going through? Did you feel like they understood or they wouldn't understand? Give us a little bit of that.
With all due respect to my biological mother, I didn't have a relationship with her where I can actually talk to her because she wasn't really there.
Yeah.
And some people know, some of them don't know my story, my testimony, which I try my best to tell, quite often. I didn't grow up really having both of my parents.
Yeah.
I moved around all over Houston. So having someone to actually tell that I'm being bullied or I'm being bothered or I'm being picked on, and have anybody.
Yeah.
So that was something I had to suppress and keep to myself or just deal with it on my own.
Yeah. So you endured the process of being bullied while you were young. But we see you now, we see the man that God has cultivated you to be now. As you went through grade school, went on off to high school and all those different things, tell us a little bit, did the bullying continue? Did the bullying stop? Did you change how you dressed? What would you say happened to, that was fundamental that happened to you that would have changed your outlook on who you were versus what they said about you?
Grade all the way up until I went off to college. It was a bullying situation, and I think the only thing that saved me from being bullied is that I was well liked because I played basketball, and because I played basketball and I was what they considered a star basketball player, Georgetown High School, here in Houston, Texas. But I think that's what saved me from probably being really harmed because a lot of people wouldn't mess with me because I was a basketball player. So during basketball season, I was the guy.
Yeah.
But after basketball, it was right back to, picking, looking for fights and things of that nature. The way I overcame it, I grinned and bear it. I grinned and bear it and moved on. I tried my best to stay away from those people that would bother me. I tried to avoid them at all costs. I mean, I went to so many different schools, so it seemed like everywhere I went was the same thing. But when I got to college, things started to simmer down. Then I went off to another college that a lot of people don't get to go to. I was lucky to go there, which was called Yale. And while I was there, that's when I really started to write, when I started writing music.
Yeah.
And I think somewhat of a peace came over me. So I wasn't worried about being bullied anymore, because since then I haven't had that issue.
Yeah.
But 16 months in, 9 months in Harris County, 7.5, 8 months in Mineral Wells, and it was, started to write, and all of a sudden it just felt like the bullying situation went away. So now I'm an advocate of really just making sure kids are not bullied.
Yeah.
Because I dealt with it for so long.
Yeah. So what would you say to the child right now who is being bullied? They're like you. They don't have anyone to go to. Maybe they have a school counselor. Maybe they have a teacher that they trust. Would you say it would be feasible for them to go to that person versus the endurance of it? Would you say that also possibly got you to the college you ended up in because you didn't have anyone to tell?
No, well, okay, well, first, yeah, if that's someone that you can speak to, if that's someone that you trust, even if it's another student, if it's another student you can talk to, and maybe they'll take you to their parents, and you'll be a little bit more comfortable speaking to them, because you can't talk to your parents, you can't talk to your siblings, you can't talk to your pastor, you can't talk to your counselor, whomever you find yourself comfortable with and you feel like they're trustworthy, talk to them. Because one of the main reasons why a lot of these kids have these mental breakdowns, and then the suicide rate is here, and then they're going out and they're handling people in all kinds of ways, because they're not talking to anybody.
That's it.
But if you can talk to anybody, take the time to talk to somebody. It doesn't matter. It could be someone that you're comfortable with at your school. Just a friend. It could be a friend, or it could be, hey, you may have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a friend. Just someone that you can talk to, that you feel like you can share that with. I promise you, if you do it, you'll feel much better, because now you don't have to deal with it alone. Because that was one of the issues that I had. I was dealing with it alone.
Yeah.
I had nobody. I had my biological younger sister, LaShon. She was in the same house with me, and didn't know I was being bullied.
Wow.
And we go to the same school for a short second, and then I went off to middle school and high school. But she was there and never saw me being bullied around my neighborhood.
Wow.
But I never spoke to anyone. So if you have a friend, if you have a cousin, you have an uncle, you have an auntie, anybody that you feel comfortable talking to, you don't mind sharing with them what you're dealing with, please do so. Talk to somebody, because they may have the answers for you. As far as me going to the extra college, I think that was just me being mischievous.
Okay.
Just me being a knucklehead, but Tiff, that was probably one of the greatest things that ever happened to me.
I believe it. Sometimes I think we think going to jail. I really believe sometimes it saves people's lives.
Man.
Because if you were out there and you had access to the things you wanted to have access to, the trouble you could possibly end up in.
The crime that I committed, which I didn't commit, I didn't tell on the person that did, and that was one of the main reasons why I felt like I'm still alive, because I didn't, tell on those people. And funny thing, well, it's not funny. I won't say funny, but the two people that were actually involved. I think I went to. This was in 95. Both of them were killed.
Wow.
The two people that were involved. I was in jail.
Yeah.
Those guys had their lives taken from them. One had their lives taken from them in jail.
Wow.
The other one on the streets. So I believe me being in jail and having some time to really just sit and think about my next move, not worrying about being bullied, because funny thing is, once I got in jail, it seemed like everybody that knew me remembered me from being a basketball player.
Wow.
Not even a musician. I was a musician first. People who knew me as a musician, but they remember me as a basketball player. So I got in there and they were like, oh man, that's Gary Mays from Charlestown. And there was a whole lot of love. So I had some time just to relax and chill and start writing. And before you know it, I wrote half of my first album in there.
So talk to us about that. That's what I want to go into next, about your album. You went to jail, you started writing, got this great album coming out, writing the good music that we all love.
Thank you.
Tell us how you feel writing and the music that you wanted to put out for the people helped you get through that time in jail, and then who you became after that.
There were two things that I wanted to do. I wanted to write music, first and foremost. I wanted to write music that inspired you. And the older I became, I wanted to write music that convicted you.
That's good.
You know, because it's one thing to inspire. If I inspire you, you know, you'll be good a couple of weeks. But if I convict you, I can save your life.
That's
I can help
right.
save your life.
That's
so
it.
that was one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to inspire them. While I was incarcerated, I came home, started playing for a bunch of people, and MDing, and it still wasn't there. I wasn't getting what I really wanted out of it. So I started to produce a young lady by the name of Kayla Alderman. She was unbelievable.
Yeah.
She was 15 years old.
Wow.
But she stayed in a doghouse with her parents. I'm sorry, Kayla, I'm just telling the whole story. But she stayed in the doghouse. She was always getting, you know, in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, and happened to be punished. And every time she got in trouble and was punished, that means everything had to stop.
Shut down.
Yeah. So I eventually said, forget it. I'm gonna go ahead and just keep it going, and I'm gonna start a group, Gary Mays and Friends in Christ.
Yeah.
Started working on it, did the album, put it out, and the rest is history. Now, if the Lord says the same, April 13th, I'll be releasing my new album, Victory in Black and White.
Yeah. So we're ready for that album.
Yeah.
We're ready to support you, celebrate with you.
Yeah.
But I want you to look in this camera.
What you got?
And I want you to tell the young men, again, we've talked about them going to someone. Let's say there is no one. What do you think they should do when there is no one? You wrote when you went to jail. They're not in jail at the moment. Let's pray they never go. What would you say is an outlet that they could possibly pursue to keep them going until they get to the point to where they know who they are, they're focused on their goals, they're moving forward in life, but they're still in the position currently?
I guess the best advice that I can possibly give you, and I hope it helps you, and it's not to offend you, because I don't want to take for granted that you have a relationship with God. But if you don't, and that's on you, but for those of you that are dealing with this type of situation who's never tried God and tried prayer, that's first and foremost. I would ask that you just pray and meditate and talk to God daily. That's the spiritual side of it. You know, just the flesh side of things. What are some things that you like to do? You know, what if you like to play basketball, you like to write, you like to draw, you do poetry, you like to build things. Like, find something that completely takes your mind away from being bullied, being bothered, being, you know, messed with or tampered with. Just completely wipe it out. Like we're in this place, and I am struggling to do this interview because there are pool tables in here, and I love pool. And I normally play pool on Tuesdays at Slick Willie's. So as soon as this interview is over, I'm gonna play pool. But yeah, just find something that makes you happy. Just, you know, go to that happy place. You know, it may be watching TV. You may want to write a script or do something that deals with the arts. You know, just to take your mind off of your troubles for a little while. And I'm not saying it's going to last forever, but it's just something to take your mind off. And who knows? God may reveal to you a way of getting around being bullied. It may be a movement. He may lead you to speak to somebody that you can talk to that likes to do art, that likes to play pool, that likes to draw, that likes to act, and things of that nature. But, you know, that would be the two things that I could share with you. Get in a relationship with God, or finding something that you love to do, and just head first, diving in.
Awesome. So we want to thank Mr. Gary Mays for being with us on today.
Yeah, man.
My heart and my passion is to see people mentally stable.
Yeah, man.
You can be stable in so many ways. You can go to the gym.
Yep.
You can eat right.
Yep.
But your mind,
Absolutely.
your thoughts, all of those things matter just as much as what you look like on the outside. What you think about yourself on the inside matters just as much too. So we hope that you've enjoyed this episode of The Perspective, and we look forward to talking with you soon. Blessings.
Street